Hello, welcome to Adapting Health, and today we're going around Middleton Park, starting at Leeds Urban Bike Park. Since we started at the bike park, there are bike trails and a cafe as well, should you wish to frequent that, which does have an accessible toilet. Unfortunately, the bike trails were a bit wasted on me, as I'm a bit too nervous to go in my chair and the clip-on. I think if I had a hand bike that were just its own unit, I would go on the trails, but as it is, I don't want to ruin my chair or something. I don't know. I probably wouldn't, but that's just how I feel. So our first stop was the Rose Garden. Just had a pootle around here. The terrain is moderately easy to get around on. I would recommend using a freewheel or front wheel type thing, but it's pretty flat, it's pretty good. The Rose Garden, weirdly, does have like a little step to get into in quite a few of the directions, but easily navigatable. Then we have Nick's Point, a nice point to just sit and enjoy the view. After hitting the key landmarks, we went around and probably did about 5 kilometres in total, and it took us about an hour and a bit, I think. Today was quite a challenge for testing out how my Klaxon does on a lot of terrains. So this first bit here is going to be a lot of downhill, which was quite nice because it was pretty chill, and the brakes work because they're clean. Hooray! Highly recommend cleaning your brakes. Who knew? But when we come back up, I got quite frustrated because the Klaxon is e-assist, but the weight just isn't distributed as it should be. So I had to have help getting up, as we'll see in quite a while. But it's really frustrating for such an expensive piece of equipment to just not do what it should do, because this is relatively level terrain, but it's not performing. I mean, the fact that the brakes didn't work, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, they didn't work. That was my fault, and that's fine. But I think I need to buy weights for this Klaxon, and now I'm kind of looking into doing that. But they are quite expensive for what they are, and I don't know if I need two, and I just can't find any information about them. So I'm kind of hoping this kind of video will help someone make an informed choice about whether the Klaxon hybrid is right for them. But anyway, the rest of us can just enjoy the nature. So while I'm talking about pros and cons of the Klaxon hybrid, I might as well discuss it further. So pros are, it's good fun, and I can do a lot more than I can if I'm just pushing my chair, because if I'm just pushing my chair, I can't do a whole bunch. And the Klaxon Mini is great, but it's not an active form of movement. It's just pushing a little button with my thumb. And I really wish the Klaxon hybrid had a Tetra version, or at least better handlebars, because one of the biggest downsides for me specifically is the fact that having the active hand on just doesn't really work. It works for a short period, and then my hand kind of gets really uncomfortable. My thumb moves over back to with where my hand is rather than being on the other side, and then I just generally lose connection quite a lot. Meaning physical connection, nothing to do with the Klaxon. So if they had a Tetra handle, it would be real good, but unfortunately the ones that Klaxon make, they don't transfer over. So I do have to stop quite frequently and just change my hand grip, because it just doesn't feel good. And I think this would be quite an easy thing to fix, but I haven't yet fixed it, because again, it's quite expensive to get the right stuff, and I don't know anywhere that I can test it, and a lot of the stuff kind of is quite meaningless to me. So I'm looking at some kind of Tetra hand grip, but honestly, I looked on the website and I'm just like, I don't know what you mean. I'm not a bike wizard. So here we start going back uphill, and I get stuck. So here I'm just trying my little hardest, and oh no, maybe not here. In a bit, I'm trying my hardest and I'm going very slowly because the e-assist just doesn't always kick in when it needs to. And if I'm on level 5 on a terrain like this, the wheel will just spin and I'll be worse off for trying to have more power, even though I need more power. It just doesn't work like that, which seems like it should. While it doesn't necessarily look like it, the hill is pretty big, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to anyone who doesn't have something going for them. So I've been up this hill in the mountain trike, and that's pretty easy with e-assist. But again, I couldn't push it in a wheelchair or mountain trike or anything unassisted. And with the Klaxon clip-on bike, I also couldn't manage it, which is very frustrating, but I had a very nice time. Bluebells were still out, so it was lovely to see, and it's so green and lovely. So much worse places to be, struggling and just hanging out, but I hope you can understand why I'm frustrated. So at this point I whizzed off, and because my e-assist let me, and just tried to do as much as I could and get up this hill as much as I could independently, and because once you stop it's a lot harder to go, as makes sense. And then we're nearly back at the beginning. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you've got any questions, do let me know and I'll do my best to answer. Hope it was informative and helped in any old way, even if it's just for entertainment. And I do hope it was at least somewhat entertaining. But thanks so much again, and see you next time.